I've seen so many people express interest in getting started in recruiting, but are hesitant because they're unsure if they have the experience necessary. We're going to explore some of the different ways you can get into recruiting with little to no experience at all. Hey, and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Preston and I'm a professional recruiter in the technology industry. Today, I'm going to continue the running theme of my last few videos by advocating for the role of the recruiter. In many of my past videos, I've talked plenty about how the beauty of recruiting is how versatile it actually is. It can be applied to virtually any industry. Along those same lines, it's also a job that's open to virtually anyone, young or old, regardless of experience. I've seen so many people express interest in getting started in recruiting, but are hesitant because they're unsure if they have the experience necessary. I'm here to tell you that there's nothing to worry about. So in this video, we're going to explore some of the different ways you can get into recruiting with little to no experience at all. Please consider a like, subscribe, click that bell. It really helps out a fellow recruiter. Appreciate it. So if you've been following my videos, you may remember that I covered this topic a few months ago. In my previous video, I covered some of the skills that recruiters use, and these soft skills are ones that are easily transferable from other industries and indeed life in general. I also discussed the difference between agency and in-house recruiting and why most new recruiters start out at an agency before moving on to corporate or solo work. Certainly, these are topics I'll review in the video in just a minute. However, I also wanted to expand on that video by going a little bit deeper into the various paths a beginning recruiter has, including some positions you might consider applying to and that will provide experience in a wide variety of skills applicable to recruiting and may open up a further career opportunities in the future. Entry-level positions with recruiting experience. It's important to remember that entry-level is when it comes to recruiting jobs doesn't necessarily mean with no qualifications whatsoever. By that I mean if you can't demonstrate a grit, a knack for recruiting related skills, and an intense drive to learn, you may want to look at a different industry entirely. Entry-level positions in the recruiting sphere are simply more open to those who don't have any prior experience in recruiting. This means applicants can run the whole gamut from high school graduates to engineers with 10+ years of experience. The most important thing here is that you're able to demonstrate your value as a recruiter. You must sell yourself. In-house, agency, or solo. As I mentioned in my previous video on this topic, I explained the difference between in-house and agency recruiting and how they differ from solo or independent recruiting. As always, I recommend going back to that video if you want to get a little bit more in-depth, but it bears a quick review before we move forward. So in-house recruiters, they essentially work internally at a company, working to source and hire candidates from the inside, the HR or people department. They're typically salaried and have deep knowledge of recruiting and the related industry. Conversely, agency recruiters work for third-party recruiting firms and help various organizations and companies, their clients, throughout the hiring process. Finally, some recruiters decide to work independently or go solo. Much like an agency, they act as a third-party recruiter for another company or organization. Agency. In my previous video, I explained that most beginning recruiters start out at an agency. Agencies usually work with a high volume of clients, sometimes across a variety of industries, so they are willing to take chances on candidates with no prior experience in recruiting to help pick up the slack. They also provide an excellent opportunity to learn the ropes and get some hands-on time as a recruiter. You may start out as an assistant or an associate recruiter or help with lower level tasks at first, but you'll soon have the opportunity to make placements and develop a workflow. Working at an agency is not easy. Expect longer than average hours and heavy communication with both clients and candidates across multiple accounts. Luckily, agencies provide a relatively safe space to make mistakes and get advice from those more experienced from you. Additionally, the high volume of work and commission-based pay means you have the potential to earn a lot, sometimes even more than a corporate in-house recruiter. If you want to start in the agency, there's no better time to start than right now. Demonstrate your grit and cold calling skills by reaching out to recruiting firms in your area and communicate your interest and selling your values and getting started. Certainly, some won't have the room to take you on, but you'd be surprised at how many new recruiters go on interview and subsequently start in the industry that way. In-house. Many recruiters transition to an in-house or corporate recruiting role after working for a few years at an agency. While the earning potential is often a little bit higher in an agency role, there is significantly less pressure and a much lighter workload in an in-house position. But again, I don't want to generalize. Additionally, in-house recruiters have a consistent salary and benefits, sometimes equity, when it comes to the tech industry. It is uncommon for beginning recruiters to get their start in an in-house recruiting role. This is only because organizations are only willing to provide a salary and benefits to those with proven success as a recruiter. That said, there are a couple of opportunities to gain recruitment experience as a salaried employee at an organization, and they're worth mentioning here. HR assistant. The role of an HR human resource assistant is self-explanatory. They pick up the slack in administrative areas for a manager or HR team. This may include updating and maintaining employee files, assisting employees with various HR requests, holidays, sickness reporting, issuing contracts and offer letters, managing payroll changes, onboarding, administering employee benefits, reviewing salaries, taking notes in meetings, and much, much more. As you can imagine, this isn't exactly an entry-level role. You'll likely require some HR training or even a degree in order to secure an HR assistant job. Still, if you're interested in ways to get experience alternative to a recruiting agency, you may consider this position. Recruitment Coordinator. A recruitment coordinator is similar to an HR assistant. In fact, they may even share some of the same responsibilities. Conversely though, the coordinator's job is strictly related to recruiting. It involves finding and engaging candidates and assisting with the hiring and onboarding process. In many ways, it's similar to the work that an agency does, except you'll be doing it exclusively for a particular organization or brand. Solo. Finally, striking it out as a solo recruiter on your own is certainly an option available to new recruiters. You could decide to operate independently or manage a group of recruiters by starting your own agency. Either way, this is likely the hardest way forward, the highest risk, and only recommend honestly for those with extensive recruiting or sales knowledge and a wide network. You'll need to lean heavily on them if you want to be successful and ramp up very quickly. Another less common option for solo recruiters is to look into recruitment process outsourcing. Recruitment process outsourcing, RPO. Recruitment process outsourcing, also known as RPO, is the name for the process that companies engage in when they hire a third-party recruiter to help them with the hiring process. Typically, this takes the form of a recruiting firm or a staffing agency. However, solo independent recruiters can also perform recruitment process outsourcing for a company. While you remain a third-party consultant, you will work exclusively for the organization and perform any or all of the tasks related to their hiring process. This is very similar to agency work overall, just minus the agency. You'll be sourcing and engaging potential candidates and moving them through the hiring and onboarding process. There is a lot of responsibility and pressure involved in a solo RPO role, as there's little room for mistakes or failure. Poor performance or negative results will likely end the partnership. Recruitment skills. I will continue to sing the praises of recruitment's versatility, especially when it comes to education. You don't need a degree to become a recruiter. In this day and age, when college is so expensive, at least here in the US, this can't be exemplified enough. That said, you still need the appropriate skills and qualifications to be a recruiter. Luckily, these are skills you can learn from a variety of places, and you may even have some already. Consider these soft skills if you have no prior experience as a recruiter. Sales. You can't escape the simple fact that recruiting at its core is a sales job. After all, you'll have to present yourself as an attractive solution to potential clients while also reaching out and maintaining contact with a variety of candidates. You also have to eventually present those candidates to the clients. All of this to say, you'll need some great sales and marketing skills to remain profitable. Social skills. In my opinion, the sign of strong social skills is the ability to build trust. You must be able to empathize with both the candidate and the client and work with their best interests in mind. It's all about balancing their needs with your needs and coming to an agreement that pleases everyone. This is much easier said than done, and those who are natural communicators will excel at this part of the job. Problem solving. Along those same lines, problem-solving skills are integral in the role of the recruiter. This is an industry with heavy emphasis on person-to-person interaction. And as everyone knows, that can cause problems. Negotiation is a daily part of a recruiter's life, and when you can come to a satisfying agreement between all parties, you'll see plenty of success for years to come. Multitasking. If you want to be successful and stay profitable, you have to be able to maintain relationships with multiple clients as well as numerous candidates, all who may be at different parts of the hiring, interviewing process. It's important not to take on too much work. You don't want to risk falling behind. But that said, the more productive you are, the more of an effective recruiter you will become. Networking. As we start to wrap up this video, I want to take a moment to emphasize the importance of networking. Recruiting is, in many ways, a job built around networking. So if you're looking to break into the industry, you have to demonstrate your networking skills. In many ways, you are your own first candidate. You have to convince a company to hire you before you can help them hire others. I recommend creating and refining a LinkedIn profile at least to help your networking efforts. Connect with other recruiters, both beginners like you and more experienced ones too. Reach out to them to share stories or ask for advice. The more connections you make, the more of a chance you have to find a valuable work opportunity. So this just about wraps up this video on becoming a recruiter with no experience. Do you have anything else to add to the conversation? I'd love to hear from you. Make sure to leave a comment down below. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please consider like, subscribe, click that bell. It really means a lot to your fellow recruiter. Please also follow me at Preston_Park as I try my best to also post daily. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.